Apple is in serious trouble, and you might be as well if you want a new Mac. In this video, we're gonna talk about what exactly is going on, what you could do about it, and how we got here, along with if we are gonna be having issues with new Macs that are rumored to be announced at WWDC, and if we might get delays. Late last summer, we made a video on why Apple is immune to the global chip shortage that was very detailed, showing off how instead of having 50% less inventory than demand with certain brands and sales going down because they couldn't get chips, Apple instead was able to not only provide as many Macs and devices as people could buy, they actually were doing discounts on them. For example, selling the MacBook Air that is super popular for as low as $850 that absolutely destroyed Windows competitors that cost $1,200 and that weren't even available. But now, 9 months later, everything has halted and flipped, and we're having some major issues. Now, were we wrong about this video? No, not at all, and I'll explain why. When the world went into chaos and this chip shortage started, Apple made some very smart moves. First off, they went to a live stream event in very short notice, started producing very high quality videos, and they actually made more events than they did previously while spacing everything out. And not only that, one massive advantage they had compared to companies like Dell is that they switched from Intel, which were struggling to make 10nm chips and providing chips to Apple, to their own Apple Silicon chips that not only allowed them to have much better devices than the previous Intel MacBooks, for example, MacBook Airs that came out just half a year before that, but at the same time, they were able to have enough chips produced by TSMC just because of the amount of chips that Apple can order and the guaranteed orders that TSMC can rely upon. Along with that, they really focused in on work from home and providing products that people could afford and are very usable by starting out with updating their lower end lineup. And they made a very smart move. They took this M1 chip that they marketed like crazy and they put it into a bunch of devices because they could actually manufacture this chip. So not only did you get it in Macs and then coming out with the iMac 6 months later, but they're now putting it in the iPad Pro and even the iPad Air, taking advantage of their ordering capability and the good yields for this chip. Now this resulted in massive profits for Apple. Quarter after quarter, they're making huge amounts of money with crazy sales in this environment where other companies can't even get enough chips to make the laptops and other products that they want to sell. And in fact, the recent quarter that just ended had record-breaking earnings and profits with increases in all of their products but one. And now here we are just a few weeks later, and Apple is sitting here with only 3 Macs that you could buy and get right away. So what is going on? Well, first off, let's see what is actually available. The first one is a 13-inch MacBook Pro. You can get one today, you can pick it up in store or get fast shipping, but this is the laptop that we've been telling you guys for over a year now not to buy. So it looks like you guys are actually listening because it's not a great value overall. The second Mac is the 24-inch iMac. Now we actually really like the iMac, but it's a consumer-focused product and one that is limited to the desk. So you can go pick one up right away. That one is available, but most people would rather have a laptop that they could actually take with them as well. And the third Mac is the Mac Mini. This is another great Mac, but this is the one that should be replaced at WWDC with the redesign and possibly the M2 chip. So those people that have not yet bought one, that are into Macs like this, well, it's actually a good reason to not buy it and wait. Now, if you want to buy our favorite MacBook, the MacBook Air, which is such a killer deal, you actually have to wait up to 2 weeks to get one. If I want to go pick one up at the Apple Store, it's actually 2.5 weeks away, and that is the base model that is kept most in stock. If I want to make a smart choice and upgrade to 16 gigs of RAM for productivity, well then that is almost a 1 month wait for a product that you could literally go on Amazon previously and not only get it with 1 or 2 day shipping, but you could actually buy it for as low as $850. And if we look right now, we literally don't even see the base model listed at all. If you want to pick one up, you have to go for a higher end configuration and even possibly overpay above MSRP to get one. Now, I also did a search on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and I didn't find any legitimate listings at all when you could previously find one. Now, this is not only an issue with the MacBook Air. If you want to buy that MacBook Pro, there's also shortages, and say if you want to buy a Mac Studio, which we really loved, you could be waiting up to 4 months to buy one of these. So what do you do? Do you wait up to 2.5 months for a base model 16-inch MacBook Pro, or do you just wait till WWDC and hope that we get new Macs, or are there other options, and why is this happening? Well, let's jump into that. First off, as far as the chip shortage, Apple is not having a huge issue with chips. Now, yes, some of these chips like the M1 Ultra, they are in high demand, but if we take a look at TSMC, they have had not as many issues as other companies, and as far as outbreaks and current people getting sick, well, Taiwan has had very little issues. They've been one of the most successful at having control. So as far as production of the actual chips, these amazing M1, M1 Max, M1 Ultras, there is not a huge issue. Now, the bigger issue that is happening is China itself, where these Macs get put together and shipped out of. If you guys have been following along, China's had a zero COVID policy where they want to shut down all cases, and because of that, a lot of different companies have been shut down, including factories that produce Apple products. For example, after a recent outbreak, iPhone City went into a full lockdown, and Apple's proactive plans to hire people for iPhone 14 ahead of time were canceled. Now, there were a couple things that Apple was doing to keep production going. For example, using closed loop factories where employees would actually stay in the factory and not leave in order to not have any outbreaks, but still continue working. Now, this was going okay for a while, but it actually ended up with a huge issue where employees broke out of there, ended up getting into fights with security guards, and just having this massive exodus, which is now causing these issues where the people that need a new Mac, they want to use it for work, or for whatever reason, you're not able to get one, and we're having massive shortages, not because of the chips themselves, but because of production, shipping, and other issues. So what should you do? Should you buy a 13-inch MacBook Pro that is available in stock? Not only that, you can actually pick up a renewed one for $900 on Amazon instead of, the regular $1,200. Well, I don't think so. I think it's probably better to hold off, possibly to WWDC, but we also have a couple other tips. First off, if you're looking at certain Best Buys, they still have stock in store that you can go and pick up at regular price. Also, Costco's have some stock depending on your location, but that is going very fast. The other option is Apple refurbished. People have been using this to save money for many years now, and right now, you can not only save some money, but you actually get some of the product. Now, if we go ahead and go to the MacBook Air, which is the most popular, things are going fast. When I first started researching for this, there was actually 6 models listed. Now there are only 2, and they're not the base models. Now, you will pay a little bit more, for example, $1,059 here, but you are getting some extra options. For example, you're getting a 512 SSD for this one, and you are still saving money compared to the MSRP price, and you're also getting the 8-core GPU. Now, if you do want to go this route, you should do it quickly because they are going, and for example, if we go to the MacBook Pro, all we see here are the older 13-inch models, none of the 14 or 16-inch models, which Apple did start selling on their refurbished website recently, but now they are all sold out. Now, with everything flying off the shelves this quickly and even used listings being non-existent, that has me worried about WWDC. Now, in a recent video, we talked about new incoming Macs coming out. For example, we have the Mac Mini that's supposed to be redesigned. We have a MacBook Pro that could come with the M2 chip, but with the same chassis. And of course, the one that we've been waiting for, the MacBook Air. That's going to be a first redesign in a while. It's going to be such a hot selling laptop, and it's something that a lot of people are waiting on. But for me personally, my thoughts are, if we are having such issues with production in China, and we're having these limitations and stuff selling so fast, does it really make sense for Apple to launch a brand new product right away if they actually can't make even the older ones that are already at efficiency for production? Now, we have seen over the past couple years where things kept getting pushed back. For example, Apple changed up their TikTok cycle on their budget iPad, and instead of actually changing the chassis, going to a larger size like they were supposed to, they just made an easy upgrade internally just by switching out the RAM and the chips and the camera. And then also the OLED for the iPad Air, that got pushed back as well because of shortages. And even the iPad Air 5 itself, instead of getting the changes that it was supposed to have, for example, getting the external flash, just like the iPad Mini 5, they didn't do that at all, and they just literally made the internal chip change to the M1, which is the easiest change that they could have made. Of course, with that, the 16-inch MacBook Pro had delays by about half a year. Instead of June time, it came out in the fall. The iMac was pushed back, and so with all these kind of delays in this global economy and what's happening right now, we've talked about in previous videos, will Apple really put out a bunch of new Macs? Now, personally, we hope that they will, but once again, it is WWDC, which is a software conference, and we have had multiple years where we had rumors of stuff coming out, but then it turned out to be just a software-focused event. Now, at the same time, we do know that we are going to get some really great software updates at WWDC, specifically for iPadOS, and if we take a look, not only do we have tons of stock for iPad Pros and we have the new iPad Air 5, but Apple is actually doing some great discounts on those items because they are available. The production is great. And even the brand new 2022 iPad Air 5 with the M1 chip, that thing is actually now $554. So you can buy it in stock for shipping right away, and you can get it at a discount. So if we do have some changes and we have new software for iPadOS making it a much better computer, it would make sense to kind of push these products, especially because the iPad is the only category of products Apple's selling that actually went down in sales compared to everything else booming. So you guys let me know your thoughts. Is this a big deal to you? What do you think is going to happen in WWDC? We hope that the rumors are still going to come true. We're going to get these new Macs, and everything's going to go well and kind of calm down. Thank you guys for watching. Check out one of those great videos right over there. Click above to subscribe to help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers. This is Max, and I'll see you in the next video.